your college career, especially if you're planning on going into any sort of master's programs. Society is an easy way to help flesh out your resume. It's an easy way to make networking connections. I found internships through my societies. I am a business management operations major, so I've actually been in Supply Chain Society and Women in Business Society, and it is it just gives you a boost and it gives you an edge on everyone, because as business majors, we're all required to take the same general coursework. There's maybe some variation depending on what your emphasis is, but we also have to do an internship. What's really going to set you apart on your resume and as you apply for jobs and as you apply for master's programs is that other experience. And societies, especially at BYU Idaho, are a very easy way to get involved with low cost and low commitment. For instance, Women in Business Society, we are holding meetings during quarantine. We're meeting via Zoom twice a month, the second and fourth Thursdays, and it's great to just be involved. Last week we heard from Amy LeBeau. She's one of the vice presidents of the university, and it was just a really interesting experience to hear about her how she got to the position she was, and gave some great advice about how to network. If you're interested in joining Women in Business Society, you can find us on Instagram. It's at WIBS, WIBS.BYUI, and we have our Zoom code posted there. And you can also look for other societies. The school has over 100 different societies, and you can find that online if you just search the BYU Idaho website, academic societies. It generates a list, and they divide it up by department. So you can look under business and comm and find a society that fits your needs. Do any of you have questions about Women in Business Society or just societies in general?
What was that there at the end of how to find the societies?
Yeah, you can search academic societies at BYU Idaho, and it will generate a list of, it's like 100 societies. So they have everything from, like, I think there's like a wealth management society. They even have societies for like, oh, what's the word, like GMAT prep. So anything that you really need as a business major or a comm major, you can find in a society.
All right. Well, thank you, Whitney, for stopping by and making that. And by the way, a side benefit of Women in Business Society, you get to work with Sister Martin, who's one of my favorite people in the world. So yeah, thanks for coming, Whitney.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. And the class, we'll talk about societies a little bit more in a bit because of some time commitments. I'm going to turn the time over to Savannah really quick, and she's going to talk about IBC. So Savannah, why don't you take it away for as long as you can, and when you need to jump out, that's totally fine.
Okay. And if you guys have any questions about IBC, feel free to like stop me or put them in the chat, or I'll leave my contact information too that you can text me or email me. But I don't know if it's required for all business majors. I know a couple of the majors you can do like alternate class to replace IBC, but I highly recommend doing IBC just because, well, okay, for those that don't know what IBC is, it's like a set of classes that you take. So there's some marketing classes, operation classes, and then I think it's like a leadership class or something. And it's a total of 9 credits. And you have to take all 9 credits in the same semester. And basically what you're doing is you're starting and operating a business on campus. So if you guys, those that aren't freshmen, you've probably seen it around campus. Every semester there's, you know, like different spots around the MC or outside sometimes. And so it's just little companies run by groups of students. And so one thing I would recommend is it is a lot of like, so you're really operating a business, and so it is a huge time commitment. So I would not suggest putting all your heavy classes in the same semester as IBC. But also since IBC is only 9 credits, some people need to keep scholarships or FAFSA, stuff like that. And so you need to have like 12 to 14 credits, which is doable. So I would recommend, I took a couple classes on top of it and it was manageable. But I wouldn't put unless you're like really good at organization and you're really smart, I wouldn't put like accounting and econ on top of IBC because it takes up a lot of your time. Do you guys have any questions to start with, and then I can expand more too? Or Brother Hales, do you want me to talk about anything specifically?
So I liked how last semester you kind of, I don't want to say you warned them, but you kind of alerted them that this can be a challenging class, not just because the subject matter is difficult or whatever, but you're working with a tight-knit group and anyway, tensions can arise. And I thought that was beneficial because it's true not just for IBC, but for everything else too. So. Right.
Yeah. So my group, I think we had 12 students in the company. And so I had people like in apparel management or something like that. I had a plant shop guy, some different business majors as well. So you're getting with a group of 12 to 14 individuals that are from completely different backgrounds sometimes. And so sometimes it's hard to, I think the hardest thing, because the assignments themselves aren't that hard on Canvas. I think the hardest thing, honestly, was working with a company of that many students because you have people that have different ideas. You have some people that are going to be lazier, or some people that, are super opinionated, want to take control. And so just learning to find that balance to work with different groups of people was probably the biggest challenge for me, but also the best opportunity. You have an opportunity to be in a leadership position, which is really awesome. My experience was a little bit different because we had the pandemic, and so we had to shut down everything. But you will be able to do some type of leadership, and you get to be in each thing. So like you'll have experience in marketing, you'll get experience in finance, you'll get experience in operations. And so I think that's a really good thing to do, to take it early on too, because it's that hands-on. If you're still debating whether you want to go into finance or marketing, you'll be able to have that hands-on experience to better know which path you want to take. Are there questions? Oh, okay, there's questions in the chat.
Yeah, there's a couple there.
What do you mean, is it optional, Jonathan?
You talked about taking these classes specifically together, so that's why I was wondering. I know some majors require it and stuff, but what you're describing is essentially you take a combo pack of classes tagged on with this experience, and that's IBC.
Yeah. So it's like when you register for classes, it's like there's a marketing one. I don't remember the course codes, but there's 3 different ones. And so when you're planning out your like grad plan or whatever, if you ever get an error with IBC, check if it could be because you're not putting them in the same semester. They have to be in the same semester. So you'll be taking 9 credits, which will be 3 different classes. But it's like from 8 to 10 in the morning every day you have a class, and then in the afternoon is when you would operate your business. So like every day you have IBC. And so if you're going to plan other classes, either do online ones or make sure that they won't interfere with IBC, because it does take up every day. How are IBC classes graded? So there are Canvas assignments that you still have to do. Like you'll have to do like an income statement or a balance sheet, some marketing plan stuff. But then also a huge part, it's every like couple weeks, you present stuff in front of like professors And so your company gets a grade on that, and the CEO gets to keep that grade, and then everyone else gets like an average of your company grade. So if you're not participating, if you're being lazy and not, pulling your weight, your grade will reflect on that. So that's a huge thing. If you're not gonna put in the work, then the grade will show it, because the Canvas assignments aren't, that much, and they're not that hard, but it's huge on participation. The groups are assigned randomly. At the beginning of the semester, you'll be given like a survey to fill out, to rank, because there's like, you could be food business, apparel, just like random accessories. I don't remember the other category, but you like rank which one you want to do by priority, but then you are randomly assigned. So you don't really have a say. I was an apparel company. That was kind of hard, but I wouldn't recommend it unless you have to add value to your product, and that's hard to do with apparel unless you have like really good sewing skills or something. So, but yeah, so that's that. And then I don't think there are really 211 might be a prerequisite. I'm not sure, but I know they were recommending people take it earlier on in their career because it does give you that hands-on experience and stuff. Do you know if there are any prerequisites for the HAILs?
No, not really. I think as long as you're I think even second semester freshman can do it. So, and we do, the faculty, we recommend you do it sophomore year, maybe junior, although I've had students that are seniors, but I think the earlier the better. Some students are really worried. And Savannah, by the way, I know you can totally jump out at any time. I want to be cognizant.
Okay, I'll leave my contact information too if you guys have more questions.
Okay, and while she's doing that, I'll just tell you. So I've worked with IBC 4 semesters. I've had 2 food companies and 2 product companies, and overall, I just think it's a great and a horrible experience for students at the same time. Like I've had students bawling in my office, like, this is so dumb, like we need to get rid of it. And then at the end of the semester, those same students are like, this was the best semester at BYU Idaho that I've ever had. It's wild. I mean, it's definitely a roller coaster, and it's designed to be that way. It's designed to challenge you. It's like Savannah said, you get academic credit. There are 3 classes here, so 9 credits. But at the same time, most of your time is spent building the product or creating the product or service, marketing, selling it, working the booth. Man, it's a big time commitment. And by the way, one question that I always get is, some students are like, do we get to keep the money that we make from our product? And the answer is no, you don't. That whatever you make, assuming that you generate a profit, goes back into the IBC program to help next semester's students get started. So, and then if there's anything left over after that, that largely goes to the Crossroads. Because keep in mind, if you're selling hot dogs or whatever on campus, quesadillas, wraps, you're basically taking money away from the Crossroads, is the way that they see it. And so any extra money will go to the Crossroads, since they're helping you out by allowing you to do this on campus. Let's see here. We've got a question about which degrees is IBC required for. So it's required for business management. And I think marketing, is that right, Savannah?
Yeah, I think the only ones, and like you can take it as finance and the supply chain, but they have alternate classes you could do instead. But I wouldn't recommend that, because then you don't get hands-on experience. But yeah, I think it is required for marketing.
Okay.
And then if not enough profit is made, actually,
and you get
most companies don't make money. So it's actually common that there's only been a few companies that have been like profitable. But you get investor like loans and stuff, and it all cycles through. So.
Yeah. So Savannah's absolutely right. I've had one. I had one. It was one group, and I think they performed the poorest of all of my group, and they sold candy. So if you were here like a year ago, yeah, it was about a year ago. They called it Sweetums. They sold
Oh,
candy.
I
like
love that place.
yeah. They had some good stuff. They just couldn't make any money. So, and like Savannah said, that's very common. Many groups don't make a profit, but it's still a learning experience such that the university is okay investing in this because you do get that hands-on experience. And many of my students have reported back to me that when they're applying for jobs, when they're applying for internships, a lot of that interview turns to their IBC experience because like this is not common. Very few other universities do this on campus, and so the recruiters love this. I mean, this is real experience. You get to say, I was the CFO, I was the CMO, whatever positions that you rotate through. By the way, you have 3 rotations, so you'll get a chance to do finance, marketing, operations, HR. But you get to say that you did something real and you increased your profits by 16% over the course of your leadership position. This leads to a lot of great conversations and sets students at BYU apart from students at other schools that don't have anything like this. Let's see here. Yeah, so that's the profit question. One thing that I'll just speak to this as a professor that's worked in IBC. One of my favorite things about this is that, like this, that I've got, let's see, total this semester about 150 students, and so it's impossible, especially over Zoom. It's really difficult for me to be able to like build a strong relationship with most of you simply because there's so many of you, and this is true even on your typical semester on campus. Yeah, I'll remember you, and we'll say hi in the halls, but when you're my IBC student, it's almost like your family forever. And so I've got IBC students that I haven't worked with for 2 years, and yet we still chat all the time. They're updating me on where they are in work or grad school, like all of that. And this is true with the group itself. You may hate each other in the middle of IBC, and I've had this plenty of times where like the group chat turns into this profanity laced, scream session basically. And yet they're all at each other's weddings and receptions and everything else. Like you just become family for life because it is that, that purification by fire. So awesome experience, difficult experience, but great. Again, I think it's only required for marketing and business management. But it's something worth considering looking into even if you're not one of those majors. Now, this semester, they're only doing it with a handful of students because campus is closed. Fall semester, they're still in discussions, and we don't know if like what's going to happen fall semester, if campus is going to be open or not. But they are allowing students to register for IBC, and then if we have to do some type of modified IBC experience, maybe doing online stores or something like that, like we're going to make it work. But if you can, I'd probably schedule it for like spring semester next year or something, when chances of campus being open are really high. All right. So yeah, any other questions about IBC? All right, Chris, yeah, go ahead.
I have a question about societies. I put it into a little quiz thing, but I work on campus, and so we have a work meeting every Thursday, which gets in the way of society meetings, which is also during forum hour a lot of times.
Yeah.
How important would you say it is to take, I don't know, that time away, like somehow get away from these work meetings and go to the society meeting instead? I can't just leave the meetings normally, my work meetings normally, because I usually have a part in them.
Yeah.
So I just I don't know how key that is. I've been thinking about it for a while now, but yeah, I'm not sure.
So I think it's if work will allow it, which most will, maybe do it just once a month or something. Um, but many societies don't meet during that forum hour. For example, the pre-law society that I work with, we used to meet just Thursday nights. Now it's kind of Thursday nights and Thursdays during forum hour. So we rotate. Simply, I think I push this more than anybody. I didn't like going back to campus at 7 at night, but you know, whatever, like you can make it work. And like I said, there's other options there. And now's probably a good time to introduce you to kind of the student panel that we had talked about at the beginning of class. So let's see, today I've got a number of these students. I lost my list of the students that came. Like Sophia, all of you that are here, why don't you just kind of take your turns and kind of introduce yourself to the class? Sophia, why don't we start with you, since I've got you on the list right in front of me.
I'm Sophia. My major is industry organizational psychology with an emphasis in HR. This is my last semester, so I'm a senior. I'm leaving soon. Super excited, and I don't know. Anything specific you want me to say?
That's good for now. I think I think it's really good to kind of introduce the different majors that we have, and by the way, as we're doing the introductions, all of you that have questions, just start compiling those. You can put them into the chat, and then we'll let the student panel answer those through the rest of the class. So yeah, thanks, Sophia. Who else is here?
I'm here. I'm Charlotte Rose. I'm an industrial organizational psychology major. Next semester is my last semester, so I'm a senior, but I'm not quite as close as Sophia is. So, yep.
All right, awesome.
My name's Christian. I'm a business finance major here at the school. I'm not as far along as they are. This is my 4th semester. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for coming, Christian.
My name is Edson. I'm an accounting major with an emphasis on programming. I have 3 semesters left, and yeah.
All right. And I love having accounting majors. Just so you know, in this class, my business law class, probably half of my students are accounting majors. So I kind of like to put in a couple digs every once in a while, but accounting's a great major and a great option, something to look at for those of you that are still, kind of looking at what you want to do. All right, I think we had one more.
Yes. Hi, my name is Spencer Haas, and I'm right now majoring in business management, emphasis in finances, though I am switching to accounting. So another tab there. But yeah, I also have, this is my 5th semester, and I am actually switching either this semester or the following to accounting. So yeah, that's all about me.
All right, Spencer is going to the dark side, which is actually really smart. Like if you look at average salaries, accounting's a pretty awesome major to go into. So, all right, so let's see here. We've got Raquel, who just wrote, and this is for all of the student panel. If you guys don't mind just kind of throwing on your LinkedIn profile link, that's great, because a lot of these students can connect with you, and that's one of their assignments, is to build up a network in LinkedIn as well. So our first question comes, this is for Spencer. So Caden asks, what made you switch to accounting?
Well, my father is an accounting person, and he's individual, but that's not the whole point. The point is actually I was walking around during my first semester here, and I had a distinct impression that I should pursue accounting, because I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I just put in business management, emphasis in finances, just because, well, I was on my mission and I was just like, yeah, whatever, that works for me. But then I had a little impression in my mind, and then I started to do a little bit of accounting, and well, I liked the balance, and I've liked to do numbers. It's just easy calculation. So it just makes sense to me. So whatever works for you, really.
Awesome. I've got a couple of questions to kind of start the ball rolling here. And this is for everybody. So feel free to jump in, those of you on the student panel today. Because I get this question a lot with my freshman class. They ask, what's your secret? What have you found that has helped you be successful in balancing the school aspect, the church aspect, the social aspect, like all of these aspects of college that build up? Kind of what's your key there?
I think for me, was learning time management, because that was like really a struggle for me in the beginning, especially as a foreigner. I felt like I took twice the time to learn things, understand things than everyone else. So I even took like a class on campus, like to help like time management and learn things. And I noticed how much time wasted on things. So I think for me, what helped is like writing things down, like priorities, list things of priorities, and make sure I always leave time to fun things, kind of like budgeting, like when you budget your money, I learned to budget my time basically and leave time to fun things as well as like work and other things as well.
So for me, it was setting up my schedule ahead. I'm a full-time student. I have a job, and I like sports, and I'm part of the accounting society, so I have to attend to those meetings. I don't know. I feel like if you master how to schedule your day ahead, employers will see that, because employers want you to see that you're multitasking, that you're not just a full-time student, but that you're also working, you're part of a society, you're part of a club. If you're a volunteer at some, I don't know, Spanish or teaching some language, they like to see that, and they consider you more than just a full-time student.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Christian. So yeah, and this next question kind of maybe feeds into the same idea as well. One question that I get from a lot of students, especially freshmen, is sorry, I should say this is a question that my students would like to ask my student panel, and that is, what advice would you give your freshman self? So, Sophia, this is especially important for you now that you're graduating. But for everybody, like if you could go back in time, what would you tell your freshman self?
Have fun. I think in the beginning I was so mind focused on studying that I forgot to have fun on the way, and enjoying the ride. So I think that what helped me to do that, because I didn't know, but the statistics are really high for students, freshmen, that get depressed they're from the beginning, because you're adjusting to a lot of things are different, you're living people you don't know, and if you don't enjoy the ride, it's kind of hard. And what I found for me that helped me see this other side was like helping people. So I discovered that like there's a lot of opportunities to serve at BYUI. And things are not a lot of time commitment, like ushering for devotional. It's 1 hour before the devotional starts, and that's it. And that's basically it, and you can serve there, and there's tons of other places you can serve on campus. And it just helps so much for you to get out of your like me, and see other people and helping other people, and you start seeing like enjoying the ride and building a social life as well. So I think I'll tell them to enjoy the ride and serve.
And Charlotte, you're getting kind of close here as well. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so I think like I wish I hadn't sweat the small stuff so much. Like I remember I took a Sociology 101 class my first semester, and I was like, didn't understand the first assignment, and so I failed it, like just the first homework assignment, and I was so stressed, I think I threw up. I was like, I learned that it's not worth that at all. Like that only makes your life harder. So you need to realize like, okay, what's worth the stress and the anguish, and what's worth being like, okay, I'm going to learn from this, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to do better next time. So just like learning that it's okay, you're going to make it through. Like some things do not work out for you at all. Like you just got to learn, okay, something else will work out.
And I really appreciate hearing that perspective, because I wasn't like that. So this is embarrassing, but my first semester, I did kind of the typical freshman mistake stuff where I was like, you know, I'm free. I'm out of the house. Granted, this is a little different for my freshmen, that a lot of them are still in their house. But yeah, it was hard, because I was like, I don't want to study. I'd rather go hang out with these people or whatever. Anyway, I'm so impressed, Charlotte. You and Sophie are like go-getters. Anything else from the rest of the panel? All right. Okay, so some students have questions about grad school. And so I'm curious, with grad school from the panel, like how many of you are considering this? How many of you have kind of weighed it and decide not to? How many of you are still looking at that possibility? I know with accounting, it's very common to go on and get advanced degrees. Sophie and Charlotte, I'm interested to hear that as well. I know there's master's degrees in HR and other options that you have. So
That for me, it's very interesting, because it's really controversial, really. In school, most of your teachers are going to tell you to go to graduate school. That's a lot of the input I received. Most of them push a lot, especially for IO, they push you a lot to go to graduate school. But I didn't want to go to graduate school because it's really expensive. Foreigners don't get loans. And also I wanted to go and put my hands on things, you know, I wanted to start hands-on experience. So I started networking and talking with like alumni that were in the field that I want to go to, and mentoring with them, talking to them, like, what do they think? Should I graduate school, try to make a sacrifice? Like, what should they think? Most people I talked with that are in the field that I'm going in, they said, like, if you want to go corporate and build your career, get experience first, because most of them are not going to look if you have a PhD, an MBA or IMBA. They're going to look, do you know how to solve problems? Do you a multitasker? Do you do this? Do you have experience to tell me when you did these things? You know, so most of them told me that like they want to see the experience. So they told me like, go get some experience first, and then you're going to even learn more on your MBA and your master's, because you're going to see things that are applicable, things that are not applicable, because you had that corporate experience first. So that's the point that it gave me. So that's kind of like I'm trying to follow, find a job first, get experience, and then go to graduate school. But I know for every major is different, so I don't know.
Yeah, I would say for me, like, I do want to go to graduate school. I think the one holdup is like, I don't want to keep going to school, you know, like I'm sick of school. But so I'm actually going to take a gap year and do internships, you know, and like get some experience in that gap year, because I think that's like, it depends on what you want to go into. Like if you want to have a degree, like if you want to go into like like if you're a psych major and you want to go into clinical psychology, or you want to be go into school psychology or be a school counselor, like you need to go to graduate school. Like you can't get a job in psychology without a master's, unless you're really lucky, or you know, you have things work out for you that way, but it's just not very common. So yeah. But like industrial organizational psychology is more like business focused. So like if you want that like a corporate career, I think it has a lot more to do with the job experience and like the opportunities you make for yourself.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. That kind of answers Brennan's question in the chat too about IO. So yeah, actually, before we go to Edson and Spencer, Christian, kind of what are your thoughts kind of with your future here with grad school, or just going straight to work? What are you thinking?
So I'm still considering grad school, but for finance majors, a lot of grad schools want to see work experience for a few years. So I'm definitely going to go work for probably 2 or 3 years, and then depending on what my opportunities are, I may or may not go to grad school. So if I end up getting into a career and there's a lot of opportunity for me for promotions and to move up like in the company, then I probably won't go to grad school. But if I feel like maybe getting that degree will help give me just a bit more of an edge and a chance to be more successful, then I'll definitely end up going to grad school. So at this point, I'm considering it, but don't know yet.
So Christian, are you kind of thinking MBA? Is that?
Yeah, MBA. That's what I get if I would go to grad school.
Cool. Awesome. And for the class, just so you know, this is the MBA is what Keith McLemmon that came and visited the class a few weeks ago. He got an MBA. He went back to Scotland to get his MBA, but then used that to work in Canada and then the US. He's a globetrotter. Like that sounds kind of fun to me. Anyway, but yeah, Edson and Spencer kind of tell us that, does the accounting program, do those professors push grad school as much as I think they do, or what's going on there?
Yeah, definitely for when it comes to accounting, you will want to go to graduate school. You want to get your master's degree, and then get your CPA exam. I feel like you're not going to progress in your career when it comes to accounting if you don't get your CPA. You're just going to be an associate at whatever firm you're going to be working. And because I believe that most of the firms, they don't allow you to become a senior manager if you don't have your CPA. Yeah, definitely you want to go to graduate school. And if it's, I guess if you're hesitating because you want to get some work experience first, the school requires you to do an internship in order to graduate. So for accounting, you have to do your internship if you want to graduate. So you will get the experience. And I know graduate school can be expensive, but fortunately there's a master's program for accounting at BYU, and BYU have one of the best accounting programs in the nation. So I feel like there's definitely no excuses to go to grad school. You will need it.
Awesome.
I'm pretty sure he answered everything that I was about to say anyway, right there. But yes, I do second that opinion that yes, you need to go to grad school. So that way then, bump yourself up there, have more, status, if you will, then take your CPA, because then it looks good. And then people will like, oh yeah, I want this individual. You'll be easily hired. You'll receive a better salary, et cetera, compared to, just being an associate accountant.
Yeah. And Edson, Spencer, correct me if I'm wrong, to sit for the CPA exam, you have to have a master's in accounting, right?
It really depends on the state. For example, in California, you don't have to have your master's degree. You just have to hit 150 credits, which you can do here at BYUI if you know how to do it. Just graduate with 150 degrees. There's a way to do it. Just gotta find out the way. But yeah, once you hit your 150 credits, you just go and take the CPA exam.
All right. Awesome. So here's a question for everybody, and for the rest of you, feel free to throw in more questions into the chat. We still have about 5 minutes. But Caden asks, what are the advantages to minoring? What's the difference between minors and certificates on the university catalog? So do any of you have minors, and kind of like what was the thought process of doing that? All right, maybe nobody did. So I'll just tell my experience real quick. I was originally I was going to go just do a business degree and then go to law school, but I realized that one of my biggest weaknesses was writing. I was a horrible writer. Like some of you think you're bad, I was worse. And so I switched my major to English so that I could practice. And that's all you do as an English major. Like you just write all of the time. And it really improved my writing. So I got the English major and a business minor. And when you go to law school, they don't care what you majored in. Like it could be whatever. So again, that was one way for me to kind of bulk up one of my weaknesses. Now I probably could have switched that and done the business major and an English minor, but I needed a lot of work. So having whatever it was, 60 credits of English classes was probably very beneficial for me. So yeah. And let's see, we got another question from Raquel. What's the best thing to do when finding an internship you're interested in, but not at a good time in your life to apply? Do you still apply? Oh, this is a really good question. So again, just to kind of rehash it, like there's an internship that's great, but it's just bad timing. How would you recommend managing that?
I would apply because, I mean, first of all, if you get it, it might change your mind. And if it is a really good opportunity, then it might be worth it to take it. And then if you are looking for internship opportunities, I suggest doing the ALPS program. I'm currently in that, and I think I'm going to try to do it the rest of my time here at BYU Idaho, because it would just give you a lot of good business experience.
And let me hit on this really quick, Christian. I think that this is important to mention. ALPS is a program that allows you to do an internship here in Rexburg. Christian, are you over at the what do they call that? The business development building place? Are you doing it there? Is it online? How does that work? Oh, sorry, you're still muted.
Oh, sorry. So it's all online, I'm pretty sure, or at least for me, I'm back in Denver. So we just have weekly Zoom meetings, and then with the clients, we just have a Zoom meeting with them about once a week, and then we work together as a team. I would really suggest doing it just because it will help set you apart, because I know you guys are doing your resumes right now, and when I did mine personally, I was like, wow, all I have is like, fast food jobs, or not really any jobs that are applicable. And I feel like, if you can do ALPS like every semester you're here, or at least like half of them, I mean, you can then be leaving college with like 2 years work experience, and I think it'll just give you an edge above everyone else, like who else is applying for jobs.
And for those of you that are interested, just go ahead and Google BYUI ALPS, ALPS. And that stands for what, like Applied Learning Professional something or another. But it's basically an internship, and you get to work for real companies. Like we've had Nissan and just like major companies that you've heard of that will ask for BYUI students to do projects for them. You get assigned those projects, you get to work on them, and it's a great experience. And yeah, like Christian said, you get to do it from wherever you are for a number of these. There are some on-site ones, and I think there's paid and unpaid ones, but this is an awesome thing. So
yeah, I second that. I did that too, and it's really good, but it helps. I second that.
Cool. All right, so let's do this last question. This comes from Camilla. She says, can we do as many internships as we want during college, specifically being an international student? So why don't you guys take us?
As an international student, if you want to get your OPT after you graduate, so it means you cannot do an internship that it takes longer than 365 days. If you do an internship that lasts longer than that, then you cannot get your OPT. And I recommend you getting your OPT because it's 1 year you have to get another internship. But they have something called OCT, that it means that you can do internships, how many you want. And I would just watch out to not do more than 365 days with that. But yeah, I did 3 internships, for example. I did it with RBDC and 2 with other companies. So yeah, you can do as many as you want, just watch your time if you're international.
All right. Okay. Camila says thank you. So I'm going to stop recording this.